Hi, Lee Smith here from Blood and Iron Martial Arts, and we're here today to review the Castille custom rapier he made for me. So we've taken some time, we've worked with it, we fought in turns with it, and now I can give you guys a concise review of how good this actually is. So we've already reviewed the Castille rapier, so why are we reviewing my custom rapier? Well, it's to really showcase how much better the custom is than his already really good line of rapiers. So I've been doing this a long time. I've won a lot of tournaments, and honestly, I'm very particular on what I want in a rapier. And a lot of times, no matter how good the manufacturer is, I don't get what I want off the production line. And that's really true for other high-level fencers. It's just sometimes something doesn't feel quite right in your hand. You can't really explain why. So you go to the manufacturer, ask them to tweak it a little bit, or tweak it yourself. Normally what I've done in the past. So I told Sam what I wanted, and he absolutely exceeded my expectation, which is surprising because I have very high standards. Easily the best rapier I've ever owned. I've owned a lot of rapiers from different manufacturers, Darkwood, even like Angus trim. I've had different blades, all sorts of different manufacturers, Hanway blades, like you name it, I've probably used it. And he gave me a new style blade he'd been working on with this light fuller up here in the first quarter. And I mean, this blade, the sword itself, it handles exactly the way I want it to handle. I was very surprised right out of the bat. It cuts well, thrusts well, does everything well. First impressions. My first impressions of the box, I opened this box, I was like, oh, this box is too light to have two swords in it. I thought he only sent me one. We're testing a fader as well. But I was like, pick this rapier out of the box, and I was like, wow, this is pretty fantastic. Julian was pretty taken aback by it as well, because he was here too. And the bronzing is really what makes this rapier. It looks amazing. Like, it doesn't, like, the camera won't ever do it justice, but it looks fantastic. I picked it up, it immediately moved to position the way I want it to be. It makes Corrigan's excellent rapier look like only half as good, which I don't even know how that was possible. So, miracles of custom work, miracles of a custom order, I don't know. But completely exceeded my expectations right out of the box. Now, next we'll talk about performance. So, we've now run this sword through 2 tournaments. My wife used it in Long Point, and now I used it in Combat Con. And that's usually what I like to gauge when I'm working with a sword. If it handles my everyday sparring capabilities and handles all its normal training duties, that's one thing, that's great. But how does it hold up when I'm using it as hard as I can and as fast as I can? And honestly, this rapier has exceeded all my expectations. It moves to target when I think about it. When I lunge and make the thrust, I can throw a deep bend, comes back, sword is arrow straight. The bronzing is holding up pretty well, and I am pushing this sword. I am definitely using it like we normally use things at Blood and Iron. I cut with it, I thrust with it, it doesn't matter. There's no deviation in the blade, nothing. I've had this sword probably for about 4 months. The steel toughness on this sword too also should be mentioned, especially in the blade. I cut with this a lot. I cut against a lot of my top students, and I mean, there's no discernible notches in this blade. And I mean, I'm using it a lot. It comes through 2 tournaments, not even a notch. A light sand, some oil, boom, done. I mean, maintenance is simple with this sword. I'm absolutely impressed. Things I like. Well, I think I pretty much like this entire sword. So, things I don't like. The only thing I would like to see changed a little bit for me was a slightly thicker grip. But since Sam is not a mind reader, he doesn't know exactly how big my hands are, that's almost impossible to fix right out of the box. So, I mean, I can change the grip up a little bit, but the grip looks so good that I don't actually want to. So there's the part of like functionality versus aesthetics. Final impressions on this sword. It's a custom piece, there's one of them, and yeah, it honestly lives up to how much it's worth. Now, is it more expensive than a standard sword? Absolutely. But it's like anything in life or your training, what you pay in often is what you get out. So if you buy a $400 sword that's excellent, it's probably going to be an excellent sword. But if you upgrade it to the level that is to your personal satisfaction, the sword will be worth a lot more. This is quite a pricey sword. I'm not going to discuss the exact price, but let's say it's quite a bit more expensive than just an off-the-lot Castille Rapier. But you get what you pay for. And because I'm willing to pay for something of this quality, when I want to do what I wanted to do in tournament, or when the pressure's on with a very challenging fencer, this sword does it. This sword does exactly what I want to do. So, how many thumbs up? I don't have 3 thumbs up, so I can only give it 2. But if Jane were here, and actually wasn't like some Albertan, like barbarian who doesn't like rapiers, she probably would give it 2 thumbs up too. But when we get into Rapier, maybe she will. Big thanks to all of our subscribers. If you want to see us review anything else, put your comments down below and we will definitely get to it. There's lots of great HEMA things to review. Until next time, finger guns. See you later.